Namaste. I am Gloria Grace Rand, and welcome to Live, Love, Engage. Today, I've got a guest joining me for the podcast. It's a good friend of mine who I met a couple of years ago through the Wise Women's Circle that we attended. And her name is Nancy Solook, and she is, and hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. I just realized
You are.
I usually just call you Nancy, and I don't usually address you with your last name, so hopefully that's okay.
It's just like it looks.
Oh, good. So she is a board certified hypnotist. She's on the board of directors for the Hypnosis Education Association of Florida, and she's a member of the International Association of Counselors and Therapists and International Hypnosis Federation. And Nancy works with a variety of cases and clients. She specializes, if I can talk,
Okay, put your new teeth in.
in PTSD and anxiety. And she's also had great success helping clients using hypnosis for things like weight control and other bad habits like smoking and nail biting and stuff like that. So she's also very skilled at helping you to be able to get into a trance to help you relieve stress and let go of trauma, and also uses regression techniques as well to help you become the person you want to be, can be, and deserve to be. And we're definitely going to talk about that a little bit later. So, because I'm intrigued
My mantra.
about that. Yeah. So welcome, Nancy.
Well, thank you very much.
So I wanted to start off with first just asking you, how did you get involved in hypnosis? What prompted you to do that?
Well, the first time I went to the Wise Woman's Circle, I met another hypnotist who kind of set me on a path. And all of the things that I used to think when I was a child and all the things I was interested in as a child, all of a sudden became really real when I realized that hypnosis was a way to access memories, access feelings, access different ways to deal with things, basically.
So can you give me an example? Is it something like, especially in your own life, or?
Well, it is. A lot of it has to do with what I do. I do a lot of spiritual hypnosis, which basically means I do a lot of past life regression work, which is basically finding things that you just can't find an answer for. You've been to the doctor, you've been to the therapist, you've been everywhere that you can think of to go, but that problem still persists. So when I was a child, I had horrible headaches. And there was no reason for them. And when I started working with hypnosis, I learned going into past life regression, whether it's real or whether it's imagined, it found a source of that pain and it got rid of the pain for me.
Wow.
So again, it could have been real, it could have been imagined. It didn't matter. My mind thought it was real and it released the pain.
That's amazing.
So I don't get the blinding headaches anymore.
Well, that's good.
Yes, it's the power of the mind.
Yeah, the mind is certainly amazing in that it can, there's been studies done about, people taking placebos instead of taking drugs and yet still getting relief from it, from the pain. So it is amazing.
It's what you believe.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you like most, since you said that you do a lot of the regression? Is there, what maybe attracted you to doing that especially?
Well, I like regression. I like doing past life, and I like the spiritual regressions because they don't base in this life and your fears that you're going through. Basically, what you're doing is you're creating a scenario that you can deal with something. So if I'm going to take you back to a past life, and again, it could be real, it could be something that you lived, it could have been somebody that you were. or it could be something that your mind created to help you to understand what's happening.
Hmm.
So when we do this, we create this scenario and we're able to talk through issues that you've never been able to talk about.
Hmm.
You've never been able to find a way around. It releases blocks that you didn't know you had, that you've just been hanging on to, because your mind, your subconscious knows everything. It
Yeah.
knows everything that's going on. So when it says, okay, the little boy Jimmy had a problem with authority.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe that's something that you're dealing with in this life, but this little boy is dealing with this problem. So how do we resolve it for this little boy? And once we resolve it for this little boy, the mind says, well, it's resolved. That was me, so therefore it's resolved. I don't have that anymore.
Huh. Wow.
Did that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does. It's yeah, because it's you're dealing with. Yeah, I can kind of see. I can understand it a little bit, but I think it might be helpful. Is what do people come to you typically for? So what and do they come to you for like help with a certain problem, and then as you work with them, maybe you see that it's something else that might be causing it? Does that happen
Most
too?
definitely.
Yeah.
I have a lot of people that come in. I work with veterans a lot, and I have a lot of people coming in with PTSD.
Mm.
Um, the PTSD manifests itself as a veteran issue, but it's not necessarily that. It may be another issue, and as we work, we find out that yes, they've had a horrible time, but their PTSD is actually based in something that happened to them as a child.
Ah.
So we work with that and release the main part of it, and then we work on releasing the PTSD from the being a veteran.
Right. Yeah. Well,
So it can go in any direction.
yeah. Well, I would imagine sometimes that it, I can understand where it could be something, even though it's they think it's manifesting because of what their experience might have been in combat or what have you, but it could be something as a child. And I think sometimes maybe that's why we tend to repeat the same or maybe even get ourselves put into the same situations because our soul wants to heal that, and so it has to be another way for it to show up. Does that make sense?
It absolutely does. And that's why we deal with past life regression, because you're reliving a scenario that has happened in the past.
Mm,
You're creating the same scenario to get you through so that you are doing the same thing you did because that's comfortable.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
It
that's
doesn't matter how much it hurts.
right.
It's comfortable. It's what you know.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I know. I've done some work on that before where it's like, yeah, it's what is I went to it was a workshop one time, and they called them the grungies. It's these things that, yeah, they're definitely not necessarily good things, but it's those same habit patterns because they may not necessarily be serving us in a positive way, but it is what we're used to.
It's what you're used to. It's what you know, and it's easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
You fall back into that habit, and it is so easy just to be there.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, that's why I know um, weight loss, sustaining it can be challenging, and I know I've done that for a few times, and trying to get to the place where I can actually maintain it is it takes some effort. I might have to
It
still
does.
even see if there's some other past stuff that's
It's breaking those habits and getting into a new form. That's all.
yeah, yeah. Um, I'm trying to think what else would you say? I guess maybe some people I think still may have a well. I'll tell you this. I know someone very dear to me who says I can't be hypnotized, and so I often think, well, yeah, you're probably right. I guess you can't because you're going into it with that mindset. So do you find that, do you ever get people who are like really, um, I guess not have their doubts, but they're just like, I don't know if this is going to work for me type of thing.
There's always people who have their doubts. There's a rule of thumb. 10% of the population cannot be hypnotized,
Hmm.
just for whatever reason. And if you have an IQ of 60 or below, you cannot be hypnotized.
Hmm.
So for the most part, a lot of people can be hypnotized. It's to the level that they're able to go.
Mm-hmm.
So what I usually tell people is, you may not go deep. You may not be in a deep hypnosis, but do you meditate?
Hmm.
Because if you meditate, that is a form of hypnosis.
Hmm.
So you may just meditate through this whole thing.
Right. Yeah.
And if you fall asleep, okay, another form,
Yeah.
but you let go. And that's all that it is
Yeah.
letting go and letting your conscious mind just go someplace else and do something else.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And it's about, because I think sometimes it's being willing to, and I guess it's not necessarily imagine, but in a way it is, because you are sort of tapping into that other part of your conscious mind where you can imagine. And that's why I guess where you're saying is that it's, you don't know for sure that people are really experiencing past life. Maybe they are imagining it, but if it brings up
Does it
something that
matter?
can be healed, yeah.
Does it matter whether it's real or imagined? Because your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between truth or a lie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It knows what it's told.
Right.
So if it's told every day, I'm fat,
Mm-hmm.
well, it's going to make your body realize that it's fat. And you're going to eat and eat and eat, and you will get fat.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
if your subconscious mind knows or is told that you're thin, you're healthy, you're
Mm-hmm.
a perfect weight, your subconscious mind is going to tell your body that. And
Yeah.
that's how your body's going to react.
Mm. Awesome. Well, I think that's certainly important, because, and that's something that I've talked about before, even on this podcast, is that our thoughts, well, as they say, our thoughts create our beliefs, and our beliefs create our thoughts, whatever, but our thoughts are powerful. Our thoughts become things, that's for sure. And whatever we
What
think
we
about.
think we
Yeah.
become.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's very,
So I always say, what we think we become.
mm-hmm.
So now you think only positive thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So what would be your advice to someone who is maybe finds that they're stuck, or they've got something that they want to change in their life? How would they, well, for one thing, how would they maybe try to contact you, or what would be the best way for them to start exploring? What's the best way for them to find either a hypnotist in their area, or then also if someone is local, or I don't even know, do you deal with people? Actually, I'm changing my mind here. Do you deal with people in person, or can you deal with someone over the phone, for instance, or via Zoom like this?
Well, we do. I have to be able to see the person.
Okay.
So we can do Skype, we can do Zoom. I work with people in England. I've worked with people in Australia.
Mm.
I've worked with people in Seattle. And I've got office hours where I'm here whenever you need.
Oh, cool.
So whenever people are available, I'm here.
Okay. Awesome.
Wow.
So how would someone get a hold of you? Where's the best place that they can reach you? Do you have a
Well,
website?
I have the name of my company, my business is a word that I got from my travels years ago. So it's a little bit difficult because it's another language. It's called Nangamai Hypnosis, which is southern eastern Australian Aboriginal word for dream. Wow. So it's Nangamai Hypnosis. We're at 1680 Highway A1A in Satellite Beach. And we are on Facebook under Nangamai Hypnosis. And there's also, I've got a webpage, Nangamai Hypnosis.
Okay, awesome. Well, I will make sure that that's in the show notes so people can reach out to you if they want to explore how they can get rid of some PTSD or bad habits or anything. Yeah.
Gloria, in all honesty, anything that bothers you, you can work with hypnosis. If you bite your nails, we can work with that. If the smell of paint bothers you, we can work with that. Anything that is an issue, it's created by the mind.
Yeah.
So we can work with it.
Awesome.
And the best part about it is it's painless.
That is very good. Yes.
Absolutely painless. It's a wonderful way to start your healing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us today some information about hypnosis. I'm glad I got to learn a little bit more about what you do, so I appreciate that. And so, yes, definitely if you want to get a hold of Nancy, so definitely check out the show notes and check her out. And if you got some value out of the podcast today, please make sure that you subscribe to us on iTunes or Spreaker. I think I'm on that as well. And leave us a rating and a review would be great as well. And then you'll be able to, especially if you subscribe, you'll know when we do our next episode. So until then, thank you again for being with us, Nancy. Appreciate it.
It was my pleasure.
And I will see you all next time. So I'm wishing you all peace, love, and prosperity.
Bye-bye.